Okay, so I'm making this video about something that like I feel like should be important when people like pursue things like modeling or anything that's like an extroverted activity outside of the norm, just like safety wise. There's a lot of scams going around, and like I try to warn people about them. But the thing is, like, when people who are like veterans in the industry try and warn people who are new, excuse me, about upcoming scams and stuff that have been around since like forever, people tend to think that we're jealous of them or that we're trying to stop them from getting ahead in life, but really it's like, no, I'm concerned about your safety. I've been approached for those same things, and like I would prefer it if you were able to avoid them too. So, yeah. One scam that's going around, well, it's a lot, like different type of email scams. Like if somebody emails you or sends you a message on Facebook or Model Mayhem, and it's like this long paragraphy, it's like a page long, and it's like they're telling you about their company and like, oh, I'm a writer for so and so magazine, like GQ or some other type of magazine that like they wouldn't really go after someone like you for that. It's mostly like a celebrity type magazine or, you know, like a high end fashion type thing. They don't really scout people on Model Mayhem or through email or Instagram or whatever. But it seems to be like a common thing. And they'll like say, yeah, like we'll pay you like an insane amount of money. We'll send you a check in the mail, and you know whatever you don't use, you send it back to us. Is like that's kind of a really common like Nigerian scam, and like nobody isn't gonna pay you like a check before even meeting you, before even like taking time to get to know you and your work. So like that's a red flag. Two, why would you give your address and phone number to someone you don't know? And three, a lot of times they ask you for your social security number and your banking account and routing number so that they can do direct deposit. But like, if you contact the companies that they claim that they're with and tell them about the scam, most likely those companies will say, we never heard of that person. We don't contact people through Model Mayhem. We don't email people directly outside of our network, outside of our agencies and contacts, and we don't do that sort of thing. We don't have an account on that platform, or like we don't do that sort of thing. So whoever that person says they are, like you can almost always go to the website, excuse me, and see like who are the people that work for that magazine, who are the people that work for that website, and get an idea for their credentials in their about section or about us or about the team section. And if not, you can call or email them about it, and most likely they'll say that they never heard of that person. So there's a lot of people impersonating people and claiming that they work for different companies, and a lot of times it's like they're not really even trying to rip you off for your money. It's people just like wanting to steal your identity, and it's, you know, one of the most common like identity theft scams there is. So that's like one of the really popular scams I see around. Another scam I see is people use celebrity names and then put it in front of like a fashion thing, and then they try and recruit people for it, and like those celebrities have nothing to do with it. Like there's one going around the Model Mayhem and Craigslist about like Kim Kardashian's fashion boot camp, or like Beyonce's workout program, or like Beyonce's dance troupe recruiting, or or Tyra's or like Tyra's model camp, or like Tyra's secret model thing, or like whatever. And it's really kind of like on Craigslist and Model Mayhem. I see them sometimes on Facebook groups for models and designers, photographers, like people in the fashion industry. And if those things are real, you would know more about it than like that little tidbit, you know? Like that's the type of thing that they would like have on TV, they would have on the radio, it's something that the celebrity would come out and say themselves. It wouldn't just be some random person on Craigslist or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever saying, you know. So oftentimes people use celebrities' names to kind of lure people in, and oftentimes it's just like some GWC, you know, some guy or girl with a camera, most likely purrs, and you know, they just want to do who knows what to you. And a lot of people end up falling for these things, and they think, oh, like this person must think I'm pretty, I must be special, I'm so lucky to be chosen for this sort of thing, and everything else. And it's like, no, that person thinks you're an idiot, and they're trying to rip you off. And you should know better than that. That's why I'm trying to like get that out. And I'm not trying to take opportunities away from anyone. I'm not jealous. I'm not saying, you know, other people can't model or they can't do other things that they want to do, but like, you have to think about these things. You have to think about these things logically. Like, if this was real, would this be set up in this sort of way? If this was a real thing, wouldn't it be something bigger? Like, why would this be, you know, something that's just on only on this platform? Like, how come I hadn't heard about this before? Because oftentimes those things have nothing to do with the people that they say that they're connected with, and you don't know who's on the other end of that computer. People think the word catfish applies only to online dating, but it can also apply to modeling or like other performance type jobs. People catfish people like all the time by pretending to be someone that they're not, by pretending to offer an opportunity that they don't have, by pretending to have money that they don't have, by pretending to just do whatever. And and I've dealt with like experiences like that where people pretended to be someone that they weren't, where people pretended to be affiliated with companies that have never heard of them. And they have like the biggest egos. And when you try and check them, when you try and confirm with them, they have like the biggest egos, they have the biggest attitudes, they have the biggest I don't have anything to prove, I don't have to show you anything type attitudes. Whereas like people who are genuine, they're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll be more than happy to show you my credentials. But like if someone like doesn't want to show you their credentials and they kind of get like an attitude about it, then you know that's a red flag. They're like they don't really have any, and they're trying to like overcompensate to make you think that they're legit when they're not. And it's a manipulation technique, and you should just be aware of that sort of thing. Also, like another type of scam that I see is like photographers will pretend to be women and create fake social media platforms and start contacting women on their friends list, start adding different women of like a certain demographic, and like try and trick people into doing things that they wouldn't normally do. Like I know that there was one a few years ago that I was reading where this person set up a fake profile, pretended to be a female, and added all these women. And this person claiming to be a female, with a female name and profile pictures and everything, was saying that she was affiliated with the sex and porn industry, and she was looking to recruit women who are single moms, people who are looking to make extra money, people who are poor, people who are looking for an opportunity, people who are actresses, models, people who like are looking for an opportunity to break into the industry. And came up with this conversation and was like, oh yeah, you have to audition with Jeremy or whatever person's name was, and then he'll meet you, and then you audition and videotape with him, and then we'll send that off to the agency, and you know we'll get you sorted. But it turns out that like that person that this female profile like recommended the women to audition with, by audition I mean like have sex with, on videotape to submit to porn industries, was like the actual person behind the computer. And like people were trying to like file for sexual harassment and rape, but because it was consensual under false circumstances, the police couldn't really do anything about it. And things like this happen like that every day, and it's not always to that extreme, but people try and convince people to do things that they wouldn't normally do under regular circumstances and manipulate them for their own reasons. And then the law can't really do much about it because you consented to it. Even though, like, it was under false pretenses, like, that's the sort of thing you should be aware of, Watch out for fake profiles. I watched a few. I watched the first season of Catfish, and like Neve, I think it said like when someone has a fake profile, they have like a very limited amount of pictures. They don't update them often. They tend to have less than 100 friends. Their profile is like relatively new, like a week or a month or less than a year old, and like all other sorts of like red flags. Um, so yeah, I will watch out for that. Also, sometimes photographers pretend to be models, recommending models to other photographers that turn out to be creeps. And women put up with that because they think if I put up with this, then I can like get better opportunities, but most likely not because like people like that are creeps. This unfortunately happens a lot in like the modeling industry, especially for underage people. And people who are underage, people who are put in positions like that, don't really have anywhere to turn to because oftentimes their families put them in those positions to help make money for their family, and they can't back out because they need money for their family for various reasons, or because like they may come from an abusive home, and they could tell their parents, but then their parents wouldn't really care, and then they can't really like tell the law without like having an adult to like back them up, and like it's just a crappy situation. And when it comes to fully consenting adults, these things can be avoided to a certain extent, so be careful about that. um, there are photographers who steal pictures from other photographers' work to put in their portfolio and pretend that is theirs, even though they're not really a professional photographer and they are nowhere near that good. So, like, if you see somebody's portfolio and the quality is different in various different pictures, and I don't mean like you could see the evolution of like when they first started photography up until now, and then you see their work slowly start to get better and better. That sort of thing is normal. But like when you go to somebody's profile and you see something that is a mixture of high end and low end, and you know somewhat decent and crappy, and it's like it's different backgrounds, it's different like I don't know how to describe it without like actually showing you guys, but like you can tell when like someone's work isn't theirs because their work isn't consistent, and like you can kind of see that like some of the watermarks have been removed. So like one thing that's a pretty good thing to do is like if somebody contacts you to work with them, you can go to their profile and download their pictures and search in Google and find out the original source of that picture and see if it leads back to the photographer that contacted you to begin with. If you suspect that that person isn't really who they say they are. Um, Most times it'll lead back to their profile, it'll lead to their Flickr, it'll lead to their website or something, but it should be something associated with that person. It shouldn't be like this person came from this and this picture came from that, and like it shouldn't lead you to like 5 to 10 different people. That is a definite red flag that that person isn't really who they say they are. And yeah. Um, Another thing to look out for is like if someone is like talking down about someone if someone is like trying to put someone else down in the industry and like trying to elevate themselves as being more important, then you can see that that person is a bit narcissistic and doesn't have much respect for other people in the industry. And if that's how they are presenting themselves in the online presence, before you even talk to them, before you even like meet up with them, then that's a sign that things are just gonna go downhill from there. Because if people, kind of give you that like first off, then things aren't gonna get much better from there. Like if a photographer posts something like, I don't pay models, models pay me. I'm the one with the camera. I'm the one with the equipment. I'm the one that went to school for it. All you guys do is stand there and pose and look pretty. And I don't pay makeup artists. Most models know how to do their own makeup, and I don't really care much for it, or, um, you know, like that sort of thing. And like, I like to shoot outdoors, and I'm not behind permits, so if we get caught by the cops and they ask for a permit, then I'm gonna leave you with the bill because I've invested enough into my career, and my job is more important than yours, like that sort of thing, or whatever. Like, just don't work with them, because if that's the type of attitude they have, like that they put on the internet as on their profile, on their website or portfolio, social media or whatever, then you can almost always guarantee that that person is not going to be a good person to work with, and they're not going to be a positive person to be around, and you may not enjoy yourself during the shoot. And if something goes wrong, you can't really, rely on that person to be a professional, presentable person. So, yeah. Um, just like if anybody sends you an email and you don't really know them that well, and they ask you for your personal information, your accounting and routing number, your social security number, if they claim that they're going to send you a check in the mail and you never met them, you never worked with them, you don't have any mutual friends with them or anything, that's a red flag. You can kind of test them out and say, oh, I don't accept checks. I could take PayPal. Here's my email address for PayPal. You can pay me that way. They will either not respond to you or come up with some elaborate excuse of why they can't do that. So, yeah, like if someone doesn't really come off as being professional and presentable, and they are kind of acting weird and giving you red flags and doing things that don't normally make any sense, then you should definitely be on alert with that, and don't go anywhere with them. Don't send them your information, and um don't work with them. Just try and avoid these people at all costs. They don't always show their true colors right off the bat. You have to pay attention to them, like during the shoot. You have to pay attention to their mannerisms and different things that they say and do. And if there's other people on set, pay attention to how they treat other people. Pay attention to how they treat you, you know. And if someone isn't a positive person to work with and they kind of have an attitude, then don't work with them. And if it gets to the point where you feel unsafe and uncomfortable and you're not going to enjoy the rest of the shoot, then it's okay to leave. It's okay to say, I'm sorry, this isn't really turning out the way that I thought it would. Thank you for your time. I really just have to go now. And leave early. You don't have to feel obligated to stay at a place that you don't want to be, and you don't have to feel obligated to work with someone just simply because they contacted you to work with them. You can politely say no thank you. You could tell them you're not accepting shoots right now. You could tell them you're not working TF right now. You could tell them anything you want. Just try and be polite, professional, and presentable, because people do talk. People do take notes of who's good to work with and who isn't, and people do spread around that sort of information. So beware of scams, beware of sketchy people, beware of people who are not professional and not presentable, not polite, and just try and surround yourself with positive people and network with people so you can get a good idea of who to work with and who not to work with, and who will be best suited for your needs depending on what you want to do with your career. And Don't download anything if anybody that you don't know sends you some documents or whatever. Like, don't download it, don't open it, just mark it as spam, report it, and leave it alone, and just leave things there. Oh, also, if a photographer asks you to send him nudes, whether or not you're a nude model or not, and it doesn't actually make sense for the shoot, like, there's no reason for you to actually have to send nudes to a photographer for anything. And if they ask you to send you nudes, send them nudes, and like, just say no. Like, there's no reason for it. Even if you have never done a nude shoot before and you're applying to do it, there's no reason for you to send them nude pictures. You could just send them a picture of you in a bikini or you in regular clothes so they can get a good idea of how you look. But you don't have to send them any nude pictures in order to get nude work. And if you're not doing nude work, especially, and they ask you for nude pictures, a magazine or a photographer or agency or whatever is like, it's absolutely unnecessary, and there's no need for it. There's no reason for designers to do it either, because if they're a fashion designer, they don't need to know what you look like naked in order to figure out how to design clothes for you. They need your measurements and get a good idea of how you look and your style and everything, and they can pretty much work from there. They don't need to see naked pictures of you. I can understand someone says like, hey, can you send me a picture of what you look like, something recent, if your portfolio isn't up to date, and I pretty much do that anyways because I do change my look up a lot. But there's no reason for anybody to request you send them nudes for like any reason under the sun. So if someone is doing something like that or anything else to make you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to work with them, and you don't have to put yourself in a position where your safety is at risk and you feel uncomfortable. I hope that this helps out a lot, and I hope that you guys can take as much from it as possible. I'm sorry for rambling. If this goes on too long, it's a little bit over like 20 minutes or so. Yeah, I'm gonna try and end it now. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Check out my Etsy shop below. I try and add new items at least 2 or 3 times a month. I'll be adding some new hair bows soon, and working on other projects. I'll keep you guys posted on like Instagram mostly, because that's where most of you guys are, and like I'll try and post videos about new collections and everything. So yeah, if you like it, like, subscribe. I try and post new videos at least 2 or 3 times a week, more or less. And please feel free to share with your friends or whatever. And hope you guys are enjoying the nice cold weather. I mean that ever so sarcastically. And thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Bye.